Choosing your backend, it's one of the biggest decisions you're going to make on any project. And it's not just about, a feature checklist. It's about architecture, it's about cost, and really, it's about your freedom down the road. So today, we're going to break down two of the heavyweights, Supabase and Firebase, and really dig into why this is such a strategic choice. Let's dive in. But first, let's start with this, a superbase. Okay, a compound with an exceptionally high affinity for protons, been used in organic synthesis since the 1850s. Huh, fascinating stuff, right? But probably not what you're here for. Yeah, exactly. We are talking about this, Supabase, the backend as a service platform. Okay, now let's get to the real comparison. At their heart, these two platforms represent a fundamental clash of philosophies. This really isn't just about picking a tool. It's more like choosing a side in a big, long-standing architectural debate. And you can see that divide right from the get-go. So on one side, you have Supabase. It's open source, built on the rock-solid foundation of a relational SQL database, PostgreSQL. It's all about giving you flexibility and making sure your data is portable. Then, on the other side, there's Firebase. It's proprietary, it's a core part of the Google ecosystem, and it uses a NoSQL document database. This thing is engineered for insane scalability and really, really rapid prototyping, leaning hard into its deep integration with all the Google Cloud services. So how do these really different philosophies actually translate into the code and the architecture that you're going to be working with day to day? Let's peel back the layers and take a look under the hood. The biggest takeaway here is that Supabase isn't just one giant monolithic thing. It's more like a toolkit of these really powerful open source components. At its core, you get a full-fledged Postgres database. Then there's an instant API, authentication, and so on. Even its edge functions use the Dino runtime, which is a modern, secure take on Node.js. They're all designed to work together, sure, but they're built on these proven, independent technologies. And this quote just nails it. It really captures their whole approach. They've essentially taken the best-of-breed open-source tools for each specific job and then integrated them into one seamless platform. So you're not buying into some mysterious black box. You're leveraging this curated stack of world-class software. So what does that mean for you? Well, the most crucial point is this. Because it's all built on standard PostgreSQL, you own your data, period. You can literally pack it up and move to another host whenever you want. And that completely eliminates the risk of vendor lock-in, which for any series project is a massive, massive strategic advantage. This whole philosophy even extends to security. With Supabase, your security rules live right there in the database, using something called row-level security, which is just a powerful way to control exactly which rows a user is allowed to see or to edit. It's one single system for everything. Firebase, on the other hand, uses a totally separate JavaScript-like system. Now, for developers who aren't SQL experts, this can actually feel a bit more approachable, but it also creates this clear separation between your data and its security rules, which adds another layer of complexity you have to manage. All right, let's get tactical. Let's move to a direct head-to-head comparison and see how these different philosophies play out across the key features that you, as a developer, will be interacting with every single day. And here it is, the core differences we've been talking about, all laid out side by side. Relational versus NoSQL, open versus proprietary. The data model is a really big one here. Supabase kind of forces you to think about structure up front, while Firebase's schemaless model lets you move incredibly fast. You can evolve your data structure as you build, which is a huge plus for rapid iteration. Each choice here really reflects a different priority. But there's a potential long-term trade-off. While that NoSQL flexibility is amazing for getting started, our source material points out that as an application scales and your data becomes more interconnected, you can run into what's called data messiness without that strict structure that a relational database enforces from day one. Now, here's another one of those practical advantages that might seem small at first, but it's huge. Supabase puts your user authentication data right into a schema in your own database. That means you have full SQL access to it. You can run complex queries, you can join it with other tables, you can build custom logic around it, and that's something that's way harder to do when your user data is locked away behind a proprietary API. Okay, now for the topic that can make or break a project, especially as it starts to grow, the cost. For a lot of businesses, this isn't just a line item on a spreadsheet, it's the potential deal breaker. And the two models just couldn't be more different. Supabase offers these predictable tiered plans. You know what your fixed monthly cost is going to be.
Firebase, on the other hand, uses a pay-as-you-go model, billing you for every single database read, write, and delete. Now, this is fantastic for new projects where you might pay literally nothing, but it can lead to some really scary, unpredictable costs if your app's usage suddenly spikes.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? The biggest benefit of the Supabase model is the peace of mind. It's knowing that you're not going to get some shocking five-figure bill at the end of the month just because your app had a good day and went viral.
And look, this isn't just a theoretical problem. Our source material highlights this really strong community sentiment and countless stories from developers about the financial risks of Firebase's pricing model once an application actually starts to take off. Cost predictability becomes a real strategic concern.
So with all that in mind, how do you make the right strategic choice for your project? Let's try to break it down by looking at a few common developer personas. Okay, let's look at who might choose which platform. If you're a founder, Firebase's speed and its mature ecosystem can be just invaluable for getting a prototype out the door fast. But if you're already familiar with traditional databases, Supabase might actually have an easier learning curve. Now, for a bigger data-driven enterprise, the analysis really suggests Supabase becomes the superior choice because of its data integrity and, of course, those predictable costs. And in the AI space, it's kind of a toss-up. Supabase's built-in vector support goes head-to-head with Google's massive AI ecosystem. So the final verdict from our analysis is pretty clear. Supabase has really evolved beyond just being the open-source alternative. For projects that are built for the long haul, the ones that really value data ownership, architectural freedom, and financial predictability, it really stands on its own as a robust and strategically sound choice. Ultimately, it all kind of boils down to this one question. Are you optimizing for the speed you need today, or are you optimizing for the freedom and control you're going to need tomorrow? Your answer to that question will probably tell you everything you need to know